Hi everyone, my name is Andisa and this is Becoming Dr. Andy. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching one of my videos once again. And if you are here for the second time or the third time but you still haven't subscribed, please do the right thing and subscribe. And if it is your first time here, I would like to welcome you. I hope you do stay and become part of my journey of becoming Dr. Andy. So on today's video, this is the most requested video. I am going to be sharing how I was able to get 7 distinctions in my MATRIC final results. So if you follow me on TikTok, you probably have seen this video where people were asking me, what subjects are you doing, or what subjects did you do in high school and what marks did you get? Because I always post videos of me being a medical student and my life around that, and people were so curious on how I qualified. By the way, if you haven't checked my video about the requirements to study medicine at UCT and how I qualified, after this video do go back and check that video. I explained all the details that you need to know. So coming back, I was sharing my results on TikTok on that video, the marks I got, and people were so surprised, especially that I got 98% for physical sciences, and they were asking me to share study tips. So this is me right now about to share you study tips. A lot of people have been asking me whether I have been naturally smart throughout my high school years or I'm just hardworking. I can tell you it is a bit of both. So starting in grade 8, my marks were not really looking that good. They were so unbalanced. Like there were times where I would get like a level 3 in one subject and a level 7 in the other subject, a level 4 and a level 5. I think back then I was relying more on my intelligence than hard work, and when I realized that this is not working for me, that's when I started to put in some time and some work into my studies. Because I remember in grade 8 when they announced the top 10 first, I found out that I was position 7, and that really broke my heart. Coming from a primary school where I was best in my school while I was in grade 6 and best in my region, to come to a school where they're like, you are position 7 in your whole class. Obviously I wasn't putting the work that I was supposed to, but I didn't think it was gonna be that hard, so I had to put in some work. Coming to grade 9, my marks started balancing off a bit and I was position 2 at the time, so I was improving. And guys, do not undermine grade 8, grade 9. Those grades are really hard, especially grade 9, because we do a lot of subjects. So I would like to tell you that the study tips that I'm going to give do not only apply to MATRIC learners, whether you're in grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. They will definitely work for you as long as you use them properly. So when it comes to grade 10, my results, like in maths, I always got an A. Like I always got a distinction in maths since term 1 grade 8 till term 4 MATRIC. That was one subject that I was consistent with, even though sometimes it would be an 82 and a 99. That's how wide the range is, but I was at least consistent. And in other subjects, it would literally fluctuate depending on the term. So for example, physical sciences, I was struggling with physical sciences in grade 10. Like my highest mark was level 5. I remember I was also like best in my class with that mark, so I think we were all struggling, because I remember my best mark was around like 106 out of 150 every time we write a physical sciences exam, and I had to try so hard to get like a better mark. And I went to grade 11 where my mark was getting like around 70s now, but it never went to an 80 up until grade 12. So in grade 11, my marks were kind of like balancing each other off. Like I would get like 5, 6 and a 7 now, instead of like the 4s and the 3s I would get in grade 8 or grade 9, because I was not good at like EMS or other subjects like that, or I didn't have that much time, or I didn't put that much time into my studies. So I am going to give you how I was able to find balance in my studies and make sure that I end up with 7 A's in matric final, because I don't think I've ever got straight A's, like 7 distinctions before my final exams. Like even in matric, term 1, term 2 and term 3, it was not straight level 7s. I would get a 5 there, a 6 there. And in matric, I had like matric finals, I had to make sure that I get all level 7s just for my statement. One thing that helped me to study effectively is a timetable. I know you've heard this multiple times, where they like create a study timetable. It is a real thing. You can't just be studying randomly without any idea how much work you've covered, or without any tracker of how much you need to go. You have to have a study timetable. And I know you probably say, I do have a study timetable, or I tried having a study timetable, but every time I cannot keep up with my study timetable, or I'm always behind. Here are the reasons why your study timetable is not working for you. Number 1, you're not disciplined. When your timetable is saying 6 p.m. life sciences, it's for you it's 6 p.m. skim sum. You are not following your timetable at all. And number 2, it might be because you put in a lot of work for a short period of time. You can't be like from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. mathematics term 1. How in the world are you going to be able to cover 4 terms in 2 hours? Be realistic. Set realistic goals. When you do that timetable, make sure that your goal is time bound, is being realistic, and you are able to complete that work for that certain period of time. And I'm going to show you how you can set your timetable so that it can work for you. So you see on your textbook, in front of the textbook, let's talk about maybe maths. It will be written number patterns, algebra, financial maths, Euclidean geometry, trigonometry. Those are the subtopics that you'll be learning throughout the year. Instead of you saying from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I'm studying maths term 1, saying from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. I am studying algebra, or I am studying financial maths, and then from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. I'm studying mitosis, life sciences. In that way, you are able to break down your work in small chunks that doesn't overwhelm you, and you are able to complete it during that period of time. And you are motivated, because every time you complete something, checklist, that keeps you going. Number 2, study resources. Do not rely only on your teacher and the study material he or she gives you. Go beyond that and go find your study resources. In matric, I used at least 3 different textbook or study guides for each subject. So I would use my school textbook, a study guide that I bought myself, and another textbook, like a different brand, like Via Africa, Platinum, all those type of textbooks, Solution for All. So do not use only one type of textbook, because you wouldn't know which one works best for you. If you are able to ask from a friend that is studying at another school, maybe they're using a different textbook, do that. Also buy study guides, like Answer Series is a good study guide for like maths and physical sciences. And also online resources. Do use online resources, either it's YouTube, or it is online notes, or it is on TV. The site that I told you, Mindset Learn Extra, that worked for me. So do not rely only on your teacher. Also, if you are able to attend extra classes from like other schools or get a tutor, do that. Literally try every possible way to make sure that you are getting information from different places. Number 3, this might sound like a cliche, but study smart, not hard. And don't confuse studying smart with studying 2 hours and studying hard with studying 10 hours. I was studying smart for 10 hours. Do you understand? So studying smart means that you find a way that works for you, and you find a way that requires little effort for you to get the best out of it, instead of using a way that you have to put a lot of effort into it but you are getting a little. Let me break this down. If you are a person who is more visual, who studies by seeing stuff, then use YouTube videos, watch videos, listen to stuff, instead of you sitting on with a book and reading, knowing that this is not the method that works for you. If you're a person who likes reading and putting down notes, make sure that you find a book maybe that summarizes it, or you highlight your notes. In that way you are able to remember your stuff. Do make mind maps if that works for you. And also, advice that I'm going to give you, do not copy your whole textbook. I know it is hard to fight the edge for you to transfer your whole life science textbook into a 2 choir. Do not do that. Do not do that. Make sure that each topic, at least it's 1 page. You can use like a small font, you can write in like small words, but make sure that if you're writing about your mitosis, it's only 1 page. That helps you that before your exams, you only have like, for example, 20 pages the whole term to study, instead of you having a textbook but in your handwriting. That doesn't help you at all. Do question papers or test yourself after you've done studying. Let's say you were studying one topic, or you were studying, like, for example, number patterns, and you feel like, okay, I'm a bit comfortable with number patterns now, or I want to check whether my studying has been working. Take a question, or a question from textbook or from a study guide, or take a past paper. It doesn't have to be a past paper from the current term you're in. You can take a final exam past paper and just answer the number patterns section that you've been doing, and test yourself whether you are getting it right. Like, always try to find something that has a memo so that you can check that you are doing it right or you are correct. Or if you are studying your geography or your life sciences and you've done summarizing your notes, if not asking yourself questions, just think about a concept. Let me describe erosion right now, and you describe your erosion in paragraph, so that you know that, okay, whatever that I've been doing has been working for me. Another thing that worked for me is pre-reading. Reading your work before going to class or before the teacher teaches you that work. Number one, it helps you revise. Let's say you've been doing functions last night and you're starting functions at school today. You are revising those functions. And number two, sometimes a teacher might make a mistake on the board and you wouldn't know if you didn't study. So it's easier for you to point out the mistakes. And number three, it's easier for you to ask questions from the get-go, things that you do not understand from maybe the day you were doing those functions or from class in general. So do pre-read your work. I tried by all means in grade 12 to be always ahead. I didn't follow the timetable that we were using as a class, because I wanted to make sure that by my June exams, I am done with my whole grade 12 syllabus, so that during June holidays, I am revising for my trials, which are exactly the same as my finals. So do make sure that during your holidays, you do not rest, you study. If you feel like you're not sure about the work that you've been doing in term 1, go back to term 1. If you feel like you're confident with term 1, you want to go back, you want to go to term 2, do term 2, but do not come in class clueless, at least for some subjects, but like not every subject. Know when to study. Use the time that works for you. Use the time when your brain is active. Some people study well in the early mornings. Some people study well midnight or late at night. Some people study well during the day. Find the time that works for you. Find the environment that works for you. If studying in your room, you know exactly very well that studying in your room doesn't work for you, then why would you study in your room your whole term instead of changing it? Find a library, work there, or maybe after school find an empty class, start working there. If you know that you have distractions at home, or like at home there are a lot of people, children disturbing you, make sure maybe you stay behind at school, find an empty class and study. Or when you come back home, try to take a nap and wake up when things are a bit quiet. That's what I used to do, because sometimes, you know, I'll be walking back home and it's very, very hot. I am tired. It's been a long day. I would take a nap from like 3 till 6, for example, and then when I wake up at 6, I would study then from 6 to 6 and then sleep till the next day. Or I would come back, do my homework, sleep at 8, wake up midnight, study from midnight up until the next morning when I'm going to school. So find like your work ethic, something that works for you, and stick to what works for you. So when you are studying, study like you are preparing for an exam. Stop doing this thing of studying hard only a week before exams, but 3 months before the exam you are just being lazy. Work consistently, study like your exam is tomorrow. In that way you are able to push yourself to your limit. You are able to keep stuff in your mind and you are able to stay focused, and you will be remembering most of the stuff towards your exam, and you won't have so much pressure to go through so many stuff. And another thing, stop leaving out the hard topics. If you feel like Euclidean geometry or financial maths is the hard topic, go and do those hard topics. Don't be like, I'm just gonna do number patterns, like master number patterns, so that I get 100% in number patterns, and this will compensate 20 marks for 40. It just doesn't work like that, unless you just want to get average marks, of which this video is not about getting average marks. In order for you to get your distinction, you need to master the hard topics too. Most of the time, especially in maths, when the topics are hard, it means that you lack basic knowledge. Go back to grade 10 textbook and learn your basics. If trigonometry is hard for you, go back to grade 10, learn your basics. Functions, graphs, go and learn your basics. Stop that pride. Go to grade 10, get a grade 10 textbook, do a grade 10 question paper. If you get that grade 10 question paper right, go to grade 11, do that grade 11 question paper. Because if you are in grade 12 and you're still getting 30s and 40s for maths, it means you are lacking the basics. Because maths in grade 12, it's a build up from grade 10. They do not start from basics in maths. They take from what they left in the previous grade. So do make sure you go back to your basics. You know yourself and you know your strengths and weaknesses. You know subjects that require a lot of energy and a lot of time, and you know subjects that you can easily master without spending a lot of time. When you make a timetable, do take that into consideration. Do spend more time on the subjects that you find hard and less time on the subjects that you find least hard. It is possible that you like a subject and you are getting good marks in it, and you find yourself enjoying doing it in such a point that you are doing it always and you are neglecting the subject that you do not like, and you end up failing that subject. Make sure that you distribute the amount of time according to the needs for each subject. When you are doing your homeworks, make sure you concentrate. Don't do your homeworks for the sake of finishing them. Even your assignments, don't do your assignments for the sake of submitting. make sure that you do that work properly. I remember for my trial exam, like something happened before physical sciences and I couldn't study like properly the week before because I was like in camp and adjusting to the environment. I was so tired and I got to that exam without preparing. But because every time I do my homeworks or my assignments, I make sure that I give myself time, I answer those questions and I go back and look the answers, like look for the answers, I was able to get like a good mark. I think I got like 138 over 150 for that paper, but I didn't study at all. So it comes a long way. Set goals for yourself for each subject. Write down that for this subject I want to get an 80, this subject I want to get a 75, this subject I want to get a 90, so that it motivates you and it keeps you going. This thing of you predicting how much you got after the exam, it doesn't help at all. It is completely useless. At the beginning of the term, predict your marks then so that you work accordingly. My advice is always aim for 100 so that you fall below like 80, 75, because if you're gonna aim for a 60, you're gonna work at a 60% level and fall on a 45, and you do not want that. And another thing that I must say, when you get your results and you see it's a 40, it's a 50, it's a 60, do get corrections. Do get corrections, because if you, for example, you got 60%, be bothered what happened to the 40. Don't just celebrate your 60. Literally in MATRIC, you have, even if you got a 99, go back and ask what happened to the 1%, because next time that 1% is gonna be the 99 in the next paper, and you're gonna be like, in June they said this paper and I didn't know, now it's trial, I still don't know. So make sure that even if you get your 70, worry what happened to the other 30, and make sure you do corrections. Always be willing to ask questions, always be willing to learn, always be curious to know what happened to the marks that you got wrong, because that comes a long way. Another thing I would say, most important, eliminate distractions. Stop spending time on social media. While I was in high school, I didn't have any kind of social media besides WhatsApp, because I was able to text my mom because of important stuff. Stop spending hours on TikTok. Stop spending 2 hours, 4 hours on TikTok. You have 24 hours, you are in MATRIC, you spend 3 hours on TikTok, you spend time on WhatsApp. I won't even talk about Twitter and Instagram, because that is so unnecessary. You have to put some time on your work. You have to be focused. You have to be willing to sacrifice stuff in order for you to get good results. Stay away from bad friends that influence you badly and don't motivate you. Make sure that you stick around with the right group, the group that motivates you. Make sure that you limit time you spend hanging around. Like after school, take your bag and go home. Don't hang around up until 4 without knowing what exactly you're doing. You do not have that much time. Go back home, study your books, make sure you are focused, make sure you set your goals, and make sure you work hard towards them. This thing is not easy. It's not going to be easy. It takes so much effort, and you have to be willing to put your mind into it in order for you to see results. Plus, it is not a thing that will work out overnight, obviously. Like, you can set your timetable, your study skills and all of that, but it might not work for like maybe the first week, the second week, and you start seeing results on the third week. Be patient with yourself. Always work towards it. Always try by all means to do your best, and I promise you, you will get the best out of it. So we've come to the end of the video. I hope these tips were helpful, and I hope that these tips would work for you. Please share this video with your friends, your classmates, or anyone who you think needs to see this video. Please make sure to like this video if you found it helpful, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please comment down below if you have any kind of questions. I'll be willing to answer them, and I'll see you again on my next video. Bye.